Hi, my name is Kelsea Freeman, and I'm here to talk about mediated communication, communication problems today, and how mediated communication has a huge negative impact on today's society. So let's get started. All right, so I want to start off with the definition of mediated communication. So that's basically communicating anything with technology, social media, messenger, just a text message, anything that you can't really see someone's face. So you don't understand everything that goes on with it. And so, why is that a negative thing? And why should we avoid that? Well, there's 5 factors I want to go over today. We have our suicide and depression epidemic that is just taking over, and there's been so many different studies. About 60% of kids have said that they have bullied or they have been bullied before, and that's an outrageous number. It's not a good number. So I'm sure you've heard about millennials. I have nothing against them. I mean, I am one, and I've heard a lot about them because I am one. And I've listened to multiple different TED Talks and about Celeste Headley. She talks about 10 different ways to have a better conversation, because we've also lost the conversation art. We can't communicate with our friends or our family as well as we used to. And that's making us way more sensitive to rejection. So we don't go for things that we want or talk to people, or even with relationships, we're finding relationships online nowadays. It also makes a huge platform for cyberbullying, and that's just something that you can't really escape because it's online, it's everywhere, and it's not going anywhere. So there are many ways to avoid it. Why? Sorry, technical difficulties. All right. So, can you live without your device in your hand? I mean, it's super convenient. It is. I'm not going to say that it's not, because there's multiple things that make it easier from day to day. We have our calendars, we can plan things, we can make plans to send text messages instead of calling. Much easier. We have the world at our fingertips. We can get anything online, and that's what's caused us to just need instant gratification always. I mean, as millennials, have you noticed that we're less likely to compromise, we're not listening, and we're more divided than we've ever been in history? So we have a lot of long-term effects that have caused us to not like mediated communication. Right now, depression is society's deep cut that we're content to putting a Band-Aid over it and pretend it's not there. Kevin Briel said that. And I thought that hit so hard, because if you see the amount of suicide and depression that is going up, in this graph, it's insane. I mean, media has created insane body expectations that make girls have eating disorders, which we'll talk about a little bit later. And it's just, social media has caused us to make things that we're not, like impossible expectations that are not there, not reachable. It shows all the good and what we want in the world, and a smiling, happy family. But it's not always the case, and there is fighting, and people just aim to do that. So it's human nature to compare one another to each other, and that makes it really difficult. Moving on, we go to our health risk and eating disorders, which is insane. 13 million people binge eat. So, that's a problem all in itself, but 10 million women battle anorexia or bulimia. And that's because we have so many expectations. And the same depression rate is the same amount as how often we're using social media. It's the same slope. It goes up together. There's got to be some connection to that. moving on. Moving on to cyberbullying. I told you we talk about this later. It's something that is taking over the world. It's so easy to do. I mean, words are taken out of context. People are fighting. How many times have you sent a text that just says okay and people think that means okay? Or, I mean, it can mean okay, like you're excited, but it can mean 5 million different other things. And cyberbullying, first coined in 1999, there's no general consensus on a definition, although different versions usually include the use of digital technology to inflict harm or repeatedly to bully online. I've personally been cyberbullied. I'm sure you have. I mean, it's just another platform. So going back to not being able to converse the same way we do, I mean, we've lost our skills because we were not continuously practicing it, rejection, and we avoid it so much. We have less human interaction. That makes it difficult. And you just have to engage your surroundings. I mean, you never know what you're going to accomplish. Everyone knows something that you don't. And in order to reach that, you have to talk to each other. And that's the way you're going to make a better communication.